You're listening to Tuning In with Jeffrey Kibble. And sometimes Mindy.
Welcome to Tuning In. Yep, this is where we get to sit down and chat with authors and artists and musicians and creators and innovators and athletes and specialists of all types.
It is our hope to provide a platform for passion-fueled, purpose-driven individuals who want to make a difference in their own lives and in the lives of others. Others being you and anyone who's deciding to be tuning in to the lived experiences, the life lessons, and the discoveries that led to creations, innovations, and messages they want to share.
Yeah, so tune in, laugh, learn, get inspired. Tune in, tune in with Jeff and sometimes Mindy. Who's Jeff? I'm Jeff.
Who's Mindy? I'm Mindy.
Tune in.
So tune in, tap in, and take action. Tune in to their wisdom, tap into your potential, and take action to unleash your superhero. Welcome to Tuning In with Jeff and sometimes Mindy.
So tune in and enjoy the show.
Welcome to another episode of Tuning In with Jeff and sometimes Mindy.
That's me.
Tonight's guest is Sue Kenney. Welcome, Sue.
Why did you laugh at it?
I have no idea.
Today's guest is Sue Kenney, also known as Barefoot Sue, and she has some amazing adventures that she's done and that she's continuing to share with other people. So let's welcome Sue.
Let's jump right into things.
Okay.
And you've had so many adventures and stories and things that you've experienced. What was the trigger that brought you down the pathway where you're at right now? What is the thing that happened in your life that you thought that you're going to do things differently?
Well, I spent, over 24 years in the corporate world. And I actually thought that one day I would retire and play golf and travel and, do all that kind of stuff out of the corporate world. And then in 2001, which seems like such a long time ago now, I went into work one Monday morning, and was asked to have a meeting with my boss. And when I arrived in the boardroom, the woman from HR was also there, and they informed me that I was being downsized. I was completely taken off guard. I didn't know it was coming, and they had me turn in all of my business, my Amex, my cell phone, clean out my desk, and they walked me out the front door for the very last time. Wow. And that was the moment that completely changed my life, because I was given a chance to choose something different. And it's one thing to be given that chance and do something about it. And, it's another thing to say, I don't want to change my life. I think I'll just go get another job in the corporate world. But I didn't. I went home and I thought, I think I'll just go for a long walk. So I walked 780 kilometers across the north of Spain. I went alone in the winter on this medieval pilgrimage route known as the Camino, or El Camino de Santiago de Compostela is the full name of it. And it was truly life-changing.
What was the life-changing aspect of it, other than being in your own head and on your own?
I think the life-changing aspect of it, if I really distill it, it was the idea of slowing my life down to 4 kilometers an hour, because that's how, that's the average coverage that people walk. When they walk about 4 kilometers an hour. So I slowed my life right down to that. And it gave me a chance. I was an A-type personality. I mean, I could do a lot all at once. And it gave me a chance to stop, look around, smell the roses, all of that stuff. And then also I met people from all over the world. And each person I met on the Camino became a part of the person I am today. And it was a real eye-opening experience for me to understand that that is really what life is about, is taking all of the experiences that are presented to you on your path and then making the best out of them.
What's an example of one of those experiences that helped shape your life from the people you met?
One of my favorite stories is called the stone story. Here's how it goes. I was walking the Camino the first few days, and I noticed that along the side of the path there were piles of stones, like rock cairns, but often they were piled on top of these cement pillars that had arrows on them or scallop shells, because on the Camino you follow yellow arrows along the way. And I didn't have a map or a guidebook or anything. I just followed the yellow arrows. And so when I arrived at this albergue or refugio, it's like a place where like a hostel where pilgrims stay. I got there that night, and there were a group of pilgrims. They were all going out for dinner, so I joined them. And I asked that evening if anybody knew why there were piles of stones along the way. And this young German pilgrim looked at me and he said, "I know the story about the stones." And I said, "Oh, okay, please share it." And he said these words: "It is said, if you pick up a stone and you put your sorrow into it, when you place the stone down, you leave some of your sorrow behind." And I thought, oh, now I have a lot of sorrow that I'm carrying with me. The next morning I got up, and the first thing I did was look for a stone. I picked it up, and then I realized that he didn't tell me how to put sorrow into the stone. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. And so I just imagined what it might be like. And I walked and I rubbed the stone, and when it felt right, I set it down. And as soon as I let go of that stone, something shifted in me. And I knew that it worked, that I was onto something. I did that every day on the Camino. And near the end of the journey, I ran into that pilgrim again. I hadn't seen him along the way. And I said to him, "Oh, your sorrow stone story, it changed my life." And he looked at me and said, "What story?" I said, "You told me the story about the sorrow stones." I said, I picked up stones all along the way, and they work." And he looked at me and he said, "Well, like, it was just a story. I don't actually believe that." I realized that it's really not about what anybody else believes. It's about what you believe that is true. And so, yeah, that was probably one of the most moving stories on the Camino.
That's cool. You said that when you put the stone down, you felt something immediately shift. What was that like?
That time in my life, I wasn't as connected with, whether it's universal connection or consciousness or connection with the great mother nature, or even an understanding of, something shifting in my body. I was a corporate gal. I mean, I worked long hours. I wore high heels. I carried a cell phone. I didn't have time to stop and think about something shifting in my body. So that was really unusual, but I knew it was special.
It's cool. And what was the experience like, being an ape type personality and then slowing down and seeing the flowers or the scenery, or what was that like?
Well, it wasn't necessarily smooth, I can tell you that. It was frustrating. And I think for the first 5 days, I was extremely frustrated. I couldn't believe that I had the same thoughts repeating in my mind over and over again. And I was actually quite bored with myself. I thought, this is ridiculous. This is my life. This is how I've been living. But it was a huge transition. But again, putting the stones down just helped me to let go of stuff that I've been holding on to. So not just sorrow, but even, just stuff from the corporate world, stuff from family life, stuff that I hadn't let go of at any point in my life.
And do you still do that with the stones?
I do. I have lots of stones around my house.
Very cool. And so another thing that you're really interested in is grounding and connecting to Earth. And you've written a book about it, and your name is Barefoot Sue on some social platforms. Tell us about that.
Well, it was actually walking the Camino that reconnected me with nature. So over the years, I ended up becoming a guide, and I took people on the Camino and I coached them and guided them. And then about 12 years ago, I came home from the Camino, and I was living on a lake in just north of Toronto, a couple hours north of Toronto. And when I finished my walk, I went back to the lake and I sat beside the water. And for some reason, I took my socks and shoes off. And then I just had this incredible, another energetic move, but more like a Kundalini charge that went right out my crown chakra. And I realized that, I was supposed to be barefoot. What I didn't know was that really it was part of my life purpose, that I meant to bring people back to the forest and show them the ground, not necessarily a forest. It could be your backyard, or it could be a patch of grass, or it could be some ground. But I've lived a barefoot lifestyle for the last 12 years. I try not to wear shoes. I only wear them when I have to. And the same with boots. I don't really wear socks at all. And what I love to do is teach people about how to connect with Mother Nature, how to ground, how to connect with all the people on the earth that are barefoot. When you're barefoot, you're actually directly connected with all of them as well. So people know a lot about earthing and grounding now, and that makes sense. But there's also so much more about barefooting that is good for your health, your alignment, your body alignment, the strength of your feet. There's just all kinds of stuff. So at the beginning of the pandemic, I got this sense that I really wanted to try and help like the younger kids and teenagers. And so, some idea came over me, and I thought, well, maybe I'll open a TikTok profile and do TikTok videos about barefooting and teach them. And so I posted my first video, and it was a 15-second video because I didn't know how to do anything else except hit the 15-second button. And people started watching it and liking it. And then I posted a second video of me walking barefoot on ice. And then the ice, I was in the water, and then I stepped up on the ice, and the ice broke. And today, that video has 9.5 million views and over 16,000 comments about barefooting.
Wow. So you sure got that message out pretty far.
I did. I was really impressed because I did many videos. I did an entire year of videos in as many different scenarios and all the seasons, and stepping on Lego, and I did a few ice plunges in there too, just to change it up a bit, and they loved it.
And you also recently just did another video with another influencer, Sky Cowan.
That was incredible. So her YouTube page is called Sky Life. That's what she calls it. Her channel, pardon me, not her page. And she heard about me from someone else who saw me on TikTok, and then contacted me and wanted to do a barefoot video. And I said, well, where's home? And she said, LA. And I said, oh, well, I'm actually going to LA in a week. So we literally, a week later, we shot the video, and 2 weeks after that, it was posted, and that was just about 2.5 weeks ago. And I think we're up to, 245,000 views or something ridiculous like that.
Wow.
Are you doing a follow-up at all with her?
So when we were shooting it, we just kept saying, hey, let's do the Adventures of Barefoot Sue and Sky. We're going to do another video. Do you guys want that? And like, you wouldn't believe how many people are like, yes, we want number 2. We want to see more of Barefoot Sue and Sky. So I don't know. We're going to climb a mountain or something. I don't know. We'll do something. Yeah.
Congratulations. That's fun. That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
And then I start reading all the comments, and they're so beautiful. I get to see that people are just opening their minds a little bit to something different, to being barefoot.
Yeah. That's huge for health overall, like mental, physical, everything.
Yeah. And I'm planting seeds. They might not do it now. And even your listeners, they might not try barefooting now, but you've planted the seed that there's a possibility, that one day they're going to go, oh, what was that podcast I listened to? where they had the lady who was barefoot and they'll go looking for you, right? And maybe they'll go barefoot.
Yeah.
People are ready to go back to nature, to rewild and reconnect with, what's right below our feet and free to everyone.
So for people who are unaware of what this even means, what's something that, like a newbie to this, who's never really taken off their shoes and socks out in nature, what could they possibly expect to feel, or what tip do you have for them to get started?
Well, the thing is, first of all, you'll feel what I call sensations. And I always say to people, when you go barefoot, we never talk about pain, okay? Because everybody's afraid of pain, of, stepping on glass, stepping on a stone, hurting themselves. But when we're barefoot, we have the opportunity to connect with our brain, because we have over 200,000 sensory receptors in the soles of each of our feet. And these receptors, their job is to tell our brain the environment that our body is in and the environment that our feet are stepping on, so that the brain can then orchestrate whatever the body needs, whether it's like righting you if you're about to fall, or lifting your foot up if you're about to step on something sharp. Believe it or not, your brain will lift your foot up faster than you can. And when people start barefooting, what's a really good idea is just to start indoors and take your shoes and socks off and walk around the house and feel the different sensations of the environment that you're in. So if you go from, say, a tile floor to a carpet, then just notice the change and the sensations. Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it soft? Is it hard? And be aware of it. And then go outside and take your first step on the ground and feel those sensations. I guarantee once you feel the sensations, you will probably want to feel even more, especially if you go out in the snow.
It's cool. So, okay, same question, but now for somebody who is accustomed to walking barefoot and grounding and meditation, do you have any insight to help them go deeper or see things in a different way?
Yeah, absolutely. Because most people, like even, barefooters who have been doing it for a while, often don't think about the idea of sensation. It's something that I've really been promoting a lot, because it gives you that connection to your brain and works all the neural pathways to the brain. So even if you're an experienced barefooter, always remember the sensation. The other thing is if somebody's been barefooting for a while, the idea would be to try different terrains, reprogram your brain. We've domesticated our feet, and the only way they're going to work for us again and actually serve us and make us healthier is if we rebuild those neural pathways and we get outside and really feel the sensations. If you do extreme sensations, like I barefoot in the snow a fair bit, like a lot, but I'm really careful. Because you do not mess around with ice and snow. You do not want frostbite. So be very respectful. Never go out without shoes with you if you're in the snow. And I guess the other thing I would strongly recommend to barefooters is keep spreading the word. Like, we've got a barefoot movement going here. Let's really open up people's minds to the idea that it's not just hippies from the 60s who are barefooting. It's actually something that every single person should be doing. And I did write a book called How to Wear Bare Feet. If you take that step and you decide you want to learn more, all the basics and some of the science are in the book, and it's an easy way for you to get started to live a barefoot life, but not necessarily, I'm not suggesting you go barefoot 24/7 like I do, but have a special time every day where you are barefoot and reconnect with nature and the universe.
Is there anything from your book that you would like to read that helps to share the message even further or ingrain it differently?
I could read something from my Camino. It's more about how I felt when I set off on the journey. So this is the beginning of my journey. And just to give you some background, I had been rowing, like training in the sport of rowing for 5 years just before I left on the Camino, and had just been selected to be a part of a crew of 8 women, and our average age was 43. We competed in the World Masters Rowing Championships, and we actually won a gold medal. So
Awesome.
yeah. So it was the first time in my life that I felt like I was world class, and I was 45 years old. So anything is possible. I do mention my coach Paul, who I introduced earlier in the book. So when you hear the name Paul, you know that it's my coach. It's raining. The rain turns to hail. A strong wind howls, wrapping around the mountainside and completely ignoring me. Danger is all around. Everything I read about these mountains and what Jacques at the Pilgrim's office alerted me to, that it was a risk climbing the Pyrenees in bad weather. To make matters worse, I chose to be completely alone. Be careful what you wish for, I said to myself, laughing aloud in disbelief as I took a few steps of my journey. Climbing the mountain for hours had weakened my legs. My lungs burned for more oxygen. The steep incline was grueling, even for a trained athlete like me. I count the steps and pause. In a state of complete exhaustion, Paul's words come to me, "Don't try so hard." I relax the death grip on my walking poles, then almost effortlessly, the natural flow of the movement of walking begins to carry me forward. I am comforted by the thought the rowers from the Argonaut Rowing Club and my coach Paul are present in spirit, my crew's strength giving me the courage to press on. It's almost as if they are climbing with me each step of the way. And as always, I'm fully committed to this endeavor. I would never quit partway into the race or partway into the Camino. I breathe deeply, filling my lungs with oxygen. This mountain is merely the first of many obstacles to be surmounted over the next 29 days. Unlike rowing in a crew, I am very much alone on my journey. I promise myself to stay committed to the present, resisting the desire to drag along the baggage of the past. I decide to embrace the idea that events on the Camino are not to be looked at as being good or bad, positive or negative. They just are.
That definitely gets somebody interested in reading more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a good choice on what to read.
It was an incredible experience, and I had no intention at all to write the book. I did not go on the Camino to write a book. I was on a personal journey. I didn't want to tell anybody about my experiences, but when I came back, I started talking about the Camino, and so many people they kept asking me to write the book because they wanted to know more. And that's actually how I became an author. It wasn't something that I set out to do. It was something I was guided to do.
Amazing way to share a story for other people to hear the experience. Because, when you're writing the book, and then when people are reading the book, you're co-creating. You're
Yes.
painting a picture for them from your viewpoint of things, but they now need to create that same thing from their perspective in a different way, which you get to impact. So it's like this co-creation happening, which is really cool.
Yeah, and the other thing that I didn't know would happen, because I'm not sure it ever happened to me, and I was an avid reader, but people came back to me and they said that if they heard my voice before they read the book, that the entire time they were reading the book, they could hear me speaking.
Huh.
And they felt like they could feel my pain when I struggled, They actually many people wrote to me and said, "Oh, my knee hurt," because I had a bad knee. And "Oh, my knee hurts. I felt all your pain." And I had no idea that writing a book could have that kind of an impact on people's lives.
Yeah, it's another way to share a message, through a book.
Yeah.
Other people do it through their form of arts or their innovation. The stories are empowering, right?
Yeah. And especially the simple, universal stories, I found that it was the simplest stories that people loved the most. The story about the stones, the story about a dog I met along the way, the story about Dino the Greek, and his leather pants. Like it was, it was just the simple things that became profound. And that's what the Camino does. It distills ideas as you're walking along into something quite simple.
Have you walked it again?
Oh yeah, I've walked it now, different distances and with groups, with one person or by myself 29 times.
Wow.
And has each time been powerful?
Yeah, people would say to me, how could you possibly walk the Camino so many times? Like, how isn't it just the same experience over and over again? No, not even close. Not even close. Every single journey is unique and powerful, and there are always lessons for me to learn along the way.
Oh.
That's very cool. So one last thing that we like to do on the show is have you issue an action step, something that can empower people to take a simple step forward on their own journey and be able to engage and share that back with you. So what have you thought of?
Well, I think, when you say action step, immediately we think about walking, right? And of course, I'm going to think about walking barefoot. So what I would encourage is, as an action step, if you've never gone outside in your bare feet, take the step. If you've never put your feet on snow and you still have snow right now, go outside and put your feet on the snow and feel the sensations. It's definitely going to make you laugh. No question. You're going to giggle and laugh and then run back indoors. And then when you go back indoors, continue to experience it. Continue to feel what's going on in your feet and what are the sensations. And then, share it with other people. Oh, and you can also do snoga. Go outside and do tree pose, or do some yoga pose in the snow. Yeah, if you have snow, then it's snoga. And if you don't have snow, it's okay too. And feel free to share and inspire other people to reconnect with nature.
So a hashtag for that could be feel the sensation or hashtag take the step.
Yeah, or
Barefoot Sue.
Yeah, Barefoot Sue.
Barefoot Sue. All right. So everyone should tag Barefoot Sue in their Barefoot Sue experience by going out and taking that first step and or feeling the sensation and then letting you know how that was for them. And if they continue and got inspired to go on a similar type journey.
Yeah. And if anybody has any questions about barefooting, like if you message me or comment, I try to read every comment and I try to respond if I can.
Nice.
So just so that I'm there for you if you need.
And when people are sharing their stories because they got inspired by Barefoot Sue, then you let us know the ones that kind of stand out for you so that we can have you and that guest back on that show.
Yeah, sure.
Do you have anything else interesting that you want to share or anything coming up?
I'm also a Wim Hof method instructor, level 2 instructor. So I'm doing an event at the Muskoka Lakes Hotel in Port Carling on March 20th. And then I have a big weekend, March 25th to 27th. And I'm really excited.
Congratulations on all you've accomplished and all the people that you're empowering and inspiring.
Thank you. Thanks. I'm just delighted to be on your show. Thank you so much.
Happy barefooting, everyone.
Happy barefooting. So great to hang out with you guys again. Thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Tuning In with Jeff. And sometimes Mindy.
That's me.
You want to find out how you could be on the show, if you know someone that you think should be on the show, or if you want to jump in and take some action steps on your own, head on over to tuningin.club.
I'm 100, guy named Humphrey Bogart, come to be known as the greatest child.
How are you? We here at the Squid Research Lab are doing what? So you think you can defeat me, eh? Let's see if you can handle this.
The Ridiculous Adventures of Ferdinand.
Hi, I'm Alan Irving, a UK-based voiceover talent. Are you looking for someone to bring your project to life? Or thinking of hiring a narrator for your audiobook? Then visit alanirvingvoa.com. Let's do this. He really is quite good, you know. Tuning in with Jeff and sometimes Mindy supports the Rethink Fit initiative, empowering you to take action to love better how you think, feel, function, look and dream. www.unleashyoursuperhero.com